Price discrimination is a path to higher profits for firms with market power and the ability to prevent arbitrage between segmented markets. First-degree price discrimination is the attempt to segment every customer and charge their maximum willingness to pay. Second-degree price discrimination is offering bulk pricing, charging more or less for higher quantities purchased, which works if quantity purchased corresponds to willingness to pay. And third-degree price discrimination charges different groups different prices. This works when it's possible to observe and segment the market by group, and those groups each have different elasticities of demand. So, is price discrimination good or bad? When we consider social welfare, that is, the overall well-being of people in society, we're generally indifferent to who the benefit goes to. What we don't like is deadweight loss. Without price discrimination, firms with market power will follow their incentives and restrict production. That's what generates the deadweight loss. As a rule of thumb, society is better off when the quantity being produced and sold increases. That isn't always true, but in most cases it works. The world is better off when there's more food than before, or more cellular service, or more healthcare. But if we look at the example of first-degree price discrimination, we can see that the deadweight loss is eliminated and output increases to the efficient market quantity. In this way, price discrimination is good because it helps reduce deadweight loss, meaning that there are more mutually beneficial trades being satisfied. But price discrimination isn't necessarily good for everyone, since some consumers lose some or all of their consumer surplus compared to the market without price discrimination. But every dollar of surplus they lose goes to someone involved on the producer side as income, which, objectively speaking, is a neutral outcome so long as these trades are voluntary. So from the economic perspective, there's some redistribution of the gains from trade, but the total gains from trade are increasing, and that is a good thing. Further, in some cases, this might be the only way to make a business work. Airlines typically engage in every kind of price discrimination. They use as much data as they can to show you prices they predict are close to your willingness to pay. They offer different prices to different groups, and they charge more if you want a bigger seat or better service. Even so, all U.S. airlines combined earn less than $10 billion in accounting profit each year, which is a pretty thin profit margin considering they do well over $200 billion in revenue. The fixed costs associated with running an airline are unimaginably high, and the only way to stay in flight is through these pricing strategies. Without price discrimination, we would have far fewer options when it comes to air travel, and overall, that would be bad for everyone. 20 years ago, Interpol seized millions of dollars worth of drugs from an international smuggling operation which was bringing drugs from Africa to Europe. But it wasn't heroin or cocaine being smuggled in. In fact, the drug they seized was legal and widely available in Europe. The drug was Combivir, a breakthrough medication used to treat people with AIDS, and the investigation was aided by its maker, the British pharmaceutical firm GlaxoSmithKline. Combivir sold for about $12.50 per pill in Europe, but for humanitarian reasons, GSK was only charging about 50 cents per pill in Africa. The smuggling operation was taking the drug meant for Africans and bringing it to Europe to take advantage of the arbitrage opportunity. But why can't Combivir sell this life-saving drug to everyone for 50 cents, which is still more than the cost of producing Combivir? The reason is that while it's cheap to produce more Combivir, producing the first pill was very expensive. It required years of research and development, which cost millions, if not billions, of dollars. To make that worthwhile, we offer companies patents on their drugs, and this gives them the market power to charge a higher price that yields them a profit in the end. In this way, the United States is often subsidizing medication in other countries in the same way that a first-class passenger helps keep the price of your seat in coach low. The US pays higher prices on average than just about any country for prescription drugs. But what would happen if we allowed people to buy their prescription drugs from other countries which heavily regulate the price? If Interpol didn't stop smuggling of Combivir from Africa, the result would have been that GSK would charge everyone $12.50, because that's the only way they can make a profit from their investment. In the end, people in Africa would be entirely priced out and would not receive the help they need. Without price discrimination, you don't magically end up with enough medicine for everyone. Instead, you end up with fewer and more expensive medications. In this way, the regulations in other countries come at America's expense, which continues to be a leader in the development of new and better medications.